Ever wondered why some people just seem to be a bit more sinister than others? It's not just your imagination playing tricks on you. There's a term in psychology for this, the Dark Triad. It's a fascinating, albeit chilling trio of personality traits: Machiavellianism, Narcissism, and Psychopathy. These characteristics, when combined, create a personality type that's as intriguing as it is daunting. So, brace yourselves, folks. Shall we take a peek into the mind of the devil? First off, let's meet the puppet master of the trio, Machiavellianism. Stemming from political philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, this personality trait is all about manipulation and deception. Imagine someone who's always playing chess, but in real life using people as pawns to achieve their own goals. This trait is characterized by a cynical disregard for morality, a focus on personal gain and power, and a knack for manipulation. The Machiavellian folks are often charming and persuasive, using these skills to weave their web of control. They're strategic, calculating, and not afraid to put on a mask, acting out roles that will get them what they want. But it's not all cloak and dagger. Sometimes Machiavellianism can manifest in subtler ways, like a boss who skillfully delegates tasks to ensure they're always in a position of power. It's the art of manipulation, where the ends always justify the means. Now, that's quite a master manipulator, isn't it? Next up, let's shine the spotlight on the self-admirer, Narcissism. Narcissism, a term derived from the Greek myth of Narcissus, who fell in love with his own reflection, is more than just vanity or self-obsession. It's a complex personality trait characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. Imagine a peacock flaunting its vibrant plumage, demanding attention from all who pass by. That's a narcissist in a nutshell, someone who believes they are superior, often disregarding the feelings of others in pursuit of their own admiration. At the core of narcissism lies a fragile self-esteem, vulnerable to the slightest criticism. It's like a bubble, shiny and attractive on the outside, but hollow and empty inside, ready to burst at the slightest prick. So, who's the fairest of them all? Well, the narcissist certainly thinks it's them. Finally, let's face the cold-hearted member of the triad, psychopathy. This isn't your run-of-the-mill bad day, no? Psychopathy is a relentless, chilling personality disorder characterized by a lack of empathy, remorse, and bold, disinhibited, and egotistical traits. Imagine a chess player, always strategizing, always a step ahead. Now, strip away any sense of guilt they might feel when they sacrifice a pawn for the greater good. Add some charm, a dash of manipulation, and a total disregard for the rules of the game. That's a glimpse into the mind of a psychopath. But it's not all doom and gloom. Psychopaths aren't necessarily violent or criminal. Some use their traits to climb the corporate ladder or navigate social circles with ease. They can be charismatic, captivating, and incredibly hard to spot. Chilling, isn't it? Now, what happens when these three traits come together? Picture this: a Machiavellian mind, cunning and strategic, driven by self-interest and a thirst for control. Add to this mix a narcissistic personality, brimming with self-love, hungry for admiration and validation. Now stir in a dash of psychopathy, characterized by a heartless disregard for others and a fearless pursuit of personal gratification. What you get is a cocktail of personalities that is as intoxicating as it is dangerous. These traits, when combined, create a person who is adept at manipulation, self-obsessed to the point of harming others, and lacks empathy or remorse for their actions. It's like a storm. The Machiavellianism is the cold front, the narcissism is the rising heat, and the psychopathy, well, that's the lightning that strikes without warning. In essence, the Dark Triad is a whirlwind of self-serving traits that, when together, can wreak havoc. A truly potent and dangerous mix, wouldn't you agree? But how do these traits play out in real life? Let's dive into some telling examples. Picture this: a high-ranking executive who, without batting an eyelid, manipulates colleagues to climb the corporate ladder. That's Machiavellianism in its prime. Now imagine a social media influencer obsessively seeking validation and believing they're superior to their followers. That's a classic sign of narcissism. Lastly, think about a charismatic individual who, despite their charm, lacks empathy and remorse. That's psychopathy for you. These examples aren't just fictional constructs, but are drawn from the world around us. They're the people we may encounter in our workplaces, our social circles, even in our own homes. They're the embodiment of the Dark Triad, a chilling reminder of the darker aspects of human personality. But remember, not all is lost. Awareness is our most potent weapon against the Dark Triad. Quite the rogues gallery, isn't it? But is there any light at the end of this dark tunnel, I hear you ask? Well, here's the good news. Absolutely. Even if the Dark Triad traits seem entrenched, change is always possible. After all, people aren't static. They evolve, they grow. Consider an old, gnarled tree in the wilderness. Despite the harsh winds and brutal winters, it's still standing, isn't it? It's because it adapts. It bends, but does not break. And that's the key. Adaptability. Individuals with Dark Triad traits, they too can change. With the right guidance, support, and perhaps a bit of a push, they can unlearn harmful patterns and adopt healthier ones. They can channel their Machiavellian cunning into strategic thinking, their narcissistic self-love into self-improvement, and their psychopathic fearlessness into bravery. So there's always hope, even in the darkest corners. Remember, every tunnel, no matter how long or dark, leads to the light. So how does one embrace the light side amid all this darkness, you might wonder? A journey into the light begins with awareness. Recognize the presence of Dark Triad traits, whether within yourself or in others. Self-reflection is key. Do you manipulate others for personal gain like a Machiavellian? Are you excessively self-focused like a narcissist? Or perhaps do you lack empathy like a psychopath? No need to panic if you find some of these traits lurking within you. Remember, personality traits are not set in stone. They can be managed and even changed. Seek professional help if needed. For those dealing with Dark Triad individuals, understanding their behavior is crucial. Set boundaries. Do not be swayed by their manipulative tactics. They may be smooth talkers, but remember, actions speak louder than words. Last but not least, practice empathy. It's the strongest antidote to the poison of the Dark Triad. Remember, everyone has the capacity for change. Now, where have we seen these traits in pop culture? We've seen the Dark Triad at play in the captivating characters we love to hate. Take Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones, for example. Her Machiavellian prowess, coupled with a dash of narcissism, makes her a formidable player in the Game of Thrones. Or consider the Joker from Batman, an embodiment of psychopathy with his love for chaos and disregard for societal norms. Then there's Tom Ripley from Patricia Highsmith's novels, a character whose Machiavellianism and narcissism are so entwined, it's often hard to tell where one ends and the other begins. And let's not forget Amy Dunn from Gone Girl, whose manipulative tactics and lack of empathy are textbook Dark Triad. These characters fascinate us, perhaps because they allow us to explore the darker corners of human nature from a safe distance. Quite the cast of characters, wouldn't you say? But why do these traits even exist in the first place, you may ask? From an evolutionary perspective, the Dark Triad traits might seem counterproductive to social harmony, yet they've persisted through millennia. Is it possible that these traits, as unsavory as they are, might have offered some survival advantage? Could the Machiavellian cunning, narcissistic self-obsession, and psychopathic disregard for others have been beneficial in certain harsh scenarios? The fact that these traits still exist suggests they might have had their uses. Quite a puzzle, isn't it? If you're enjoying this deep dive into the darkness, don't forget to subscribe and like. Each click helps to shine a light on the mysteries of the mind. So go ahead, press those buttons and join our community of curious minds. Stay tuned, we're not done yet. So, how does the Dark Triad show up in everyday life, you might be wondering? Well, it's not as conspicuous as you might think. These traits often manifest subtly, hidden beneath the surface of normal interactions. Take, for instance, a friend who always seems to be manipulating conversations for their own benefit. That could be a sign of Machiavellianism. Or perhaps you know someone who craves constant admiration and views themselves as superior to others. Classic narcissism. And then there's the individual who doesn't seem to have a shred of empathy, who may take risks without considering the consequences. That's a glimpse of psychopathy. Remember, these traits aren't always glaringly obvious. They can be discreet, lurking beneath a charming exterior or a seemingly confident persona. It's important to be aware, to understand these traits, and to know how to navigate around them. Keep your eyes open. You never know when you might encounter the Dark Triad. So, what have we learned about the Dark Triad today? We've delved into the sinister world of Machiavellianism, narcissism and psychopathy, dissected their influence in our everyday lives, and even spotted them lurking in pop culture. We've also witnessed the light at the end of the tunnel, showing us ways to counteract these traits. It's been a journey into the shadows, but remember, you're now armed with invaluable knowledge. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when dealing with the Dark Triad. That's it for today's journey into the dark side of personality. We've delved deep, unmasking the Dark Triad and its shadows in our everyday lives. Remember, knowledge is your best defense. Until next time, keep your wits about you.
Savored this video? Fancy another? Click the on-screen video for an even deeper dive into fresh territory. Your support is like a warm cuppa on a brisk day. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, ring that bell for the latest content. Cheers for watching.